You are listening to In Conversation with Jennie and Mark.
Well, hello and welcome to another In Conversation with Jennie and Mark. I am the Reverend Mark Adams, the Vicar of St Margaret's Church, Barking.
And I am the Reverend Jennie Adams, priest in charge of Holy Trinity, Prince Consort Road, South Kensington. Welcome.
Welcome back, or welcome for the first time, maybe, if you're just joining us. So we are going to take about 20 minutes. We're going to look at one of the readings that's set for next Sunday to help us, and who knows, maybe even you, in what you might say, or just a chance to think about it. So we are continuing our journey with Acts and with Paul as he travels from Asia to Europe and what he finds at Philippi.
And we do follow straight on from last week's reading, don't we?
We do follow straight on from last week's reading, yeah. So they've arrived, they've met Lydia, they're staying at her house. And then it all kicks off.
Still searching for the place of prayer. Come on then, let's have a look.
Let's have a look then. Yeah, okay. So here we go. It is Acts 16 and reading from verse 16.
Am I reading it?
I thought you were. No, I think I was. Okay, no, okay, I'll do it. One day, as we were going to the place of prayer, we met a slave girl who had a spirit of divination and brought her owners a great deal of money by fortune telling. While she followed Paul and us, she would cry out, "These men are slaves of the Most High God who proclaim to you a way of salvation." She kept doing this for many days, but Paul, very much annoyed, turned and said to the spirit, "I order you in the name of Jesus Christ to come out of her." And it came out that very hour. But when her owners saw that their hope of making money was gone, they seized Paul and Silas and dragged them into the marketplace before the authorities. When they had brought them before the magistrates, they said, "These men are disturbing our city. They are Jews and are advocating customs that are not lawful for us as Romans to adopt or observe." The crowd joined in attacking them, and the magistrates had them stripped of their clothing and ordered them to be beaten with rods. After they had had a severe flogging, they threw them into prison and ordered the jailer to keep them securely. Following these instructions, he put them in the innermost cell and fastened their feet in the stocks. About midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God, and the prisoners were listening to them. Suddenly there was an earthquake so violent that the foundations of the prison were shaken, and immediately all the doors were opened and everyone's chains were unfastened. When the jailer woke up and saw the prison doors wide open, he drew his sword and was about to kill himself, since he supposed that the prisoners had escaped. But Paul shouted in a loud voice, "Do not harm yourself, for we are all here." The jailer called for lights, and rushing in, he fell down trembling before Paul and Silas. Then he brought them outside and said, "Sirs, what must I do to be saved?" They answered him, "Believe on the Lord Jesus, and you will be saved, you and your household." They spoke the word of the Lord to him and all who were in his house. At the same hour of the night, he took them and washed their wounds. Then he and his entire family were baptized without delay. He brought them up into the house and set food before them, and he and his entire household rejoiced that he had become a believer in God. Okay, so there's a lot going on here. As I say, it's all kicking off.
It is indeed. Okay, first flippant thought.
Flippant thought number one. Just do like a flippant thought. Yes, go on.
Okay, so this girl was really annoying because she'd been following them around for days shouting. Were they any less annoying in prison, singing hymns till midnight?
I love the way that Paul just says that she's following around, and then he's very annoyed. He's very
it had been
annoyed.
days of it.
Days of it.
It is quite irritating.
It's sort of just interesting, isn't it? Why did he take days to act? Why does he, something? It's like he snaps and does a miracle. It's like,
yeah, it's simply because she's being annoying.
It's really annoying. And it's a little bit like the stories of Jesus, isn't it? When he meets the sort of demon possessed, that they're saying, this is the Son of the Most High God. What are you doing? And it's just this weird kind of thing, isn't it? Where this men, on the one hand, you think, well, this is a good thing to be saying, surely, but clearly not.
Yes, I'm struck a little bit by Monty Python, like healed her without so much as a "by your leave," because it sounds good, but now she's still a slave, but has no earning potential.
Yeah, but surely, she's free of the thing that was dominating her, isn't she?
She's only free of one of them, isn't she?
Well, yes, I'm assuming that they don't take kindly to her either. But
Well,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, there is an assumption there, but they might just, of course, yeah, ditch her. No longer a slave to them.
I mean, it's obviously the slave owners, you know, don't come out of it well because they all only just see this woman as a way of making money, don't they? They have no concern for her welfare or what's possessing her or what's going on. They just want to, as you say, they're just cross because their money making potential is gone.
Yes, I mean, it just leaves me with questions of what happened to her next, though, because if her money-making potential is gone, what did they use it for, or you know, what happened next?
Okay, well, of course we don't know, do we?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, yeah. So we like our questions, don't we? Why does it take a while for Paul to act? What happens to her next? But of course, Luke's in his story, has other fish to fry, doesn't he? He wants to
Yeah.
he wants to look at what's going on with Paul and Silas as they get thrown into prison.
So
And
yeah.
yes, annoyingly singing hymns at midnight.
Oh, that's so irritating, isn't it? I mean, it's bad enough being in prison, locked up, without some couple turning up and singing hymns and praising God till midnight.
Supposed to be encouraged by this, Jenny. It's a classic Sunday school story that I remember from when I was a kid of, would you be, if you were sitting in prison, would you be, would we be singing hymns? Potentially not. You're
I'm there with
going
the
to be sitting
others
there
there,
feeling
it's
sorry for
like, because
yourself.
they were listening to him. Of course they were. They were chained up. They got no other option.
So it's interesting. So I was doing a little bit of reading from Roots because we've got all age on Sunday, and obviously coming back to the thing
Oh,
about the slave girl, they're talking about people being freed from slavery and the problems of modern slavery, and that we also have a problem with slavery today. It's not just something which is in the past. It
okay,
might
that's
have a
a
different
nice
form,
link in. That's
but
good.
I thought that was quite interesting. So there's some things there that I think we might think about, and I
Is
know
this
that you always
is this
struggle, don't
all
you?
like
Because you can't go
gone?
to the car wash anymore or get your nails done.
Oh, I can't have my nails done. I can't go to the car wash. It's terrible. It's terrible. Could we not have people working there that aren't modern slaves? Well, we
Haven't been
probably do,
trafficked
but
or
like, how do you know?
how do
Um,
you know? Yeah. Didn't you say
no.
that you got to look the car wash, you got to look at people's shoes? Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
absolutely. Yeah, if they've got waterproof shoes or proper sturdy shoes, then that's what I was told. Generally, they are employed or better looked after.
Yeah. But if it's just
I
a sort
mean,
of
I'm going
pop-up
to
thing,
say it's hard to tell though, because sometimes people have come across and just set up as a group of friends to set up a car wash. Doesn't mean they've actually been trafficked. So yeah, it is
but it is
difficult.
something to be aware of, isn't it? It is definitely something that's real and something to be aware of. And actually, Church of England has done some training courses about it, haven't they? About modern slavery and
I know that's where I discovered the nail bars were an equal problem.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
So, it's not
Could
something
we
we've done in the
also
past.
perhaps make
Yeah.
some sort of link? And it's only kind of just in my background. I haven't thought this through. So the slave girl was bound, is it for want of a better word, by the fact that had a spirit of divination and she's owned by the slave owners. Um, and then we've got Paul and Silas physically bound and put in prison. I wonder whether we can work something out. I'm thinking out loud about oppression and being freed like that. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
and actually, in one sense, there's a sense that I like that. Actually, there's also a sense, isn't there, that Paul and Silas throughout this, even though they're physically bound, are acting in freedom. They're not. They're not
Yes.
chained up and put in the innermost. There's kind of Luke sort of likes to give it a bit of they're in the innermost cell of the center of the prison. They're really but actually they obviously feel. And although irritated you might be by their hymn singing, actually they're like, you can put us in stocks in this sense still going to praise God and we're still going to do what we think is right. So they're still
I
acting
mean,
in
I
freedom,
do
aren't they?
absolutely. I think it's just a passage that raises so many questions for me. So yes, I would be irritated by their hymn singing, but actually they say we're all here. So nobody else escaped either. They did all just sit there with Paul and Silas
Yes.
when they could have
I mean, it's a
escaped.
great dramatic story as well. You got the prison officer, the warden of the prison. He's about to, take his own life because he thinks that he's going to be in a lot of trouble because this earthquake's released all the prisoners, and and then they're all there. It's just as you say, Paul and Silas have somehow managed to, and then of course he's also then freed, isn't there? So that actually it's really interesting. It's a lot of themes, isn't it, in this passage around uh, being a prisoner, being free, slavery, freedom. All those themes are running all the way through, aren't they, actually?
Well, yes. So the jailer, let's see how he's oppressed and bound, because obviously things were so bad that rather than check out how bad things were, he thought taking his own life would be a better option.
Yeah, I
There's a
mean, that's true.
there's a
Clearly.
lesson there, first of all, isn't there? Before you kill yourself, check things really are that bad. Um, but because they're probably not. But also he's also under a level of oppression, so much so that he thought that that was the only option.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, it's a theme that continues through. I'm
Well,
not
you
sure
would have
how
thought that
many.
the fact that there's been an earthquake is not his fault. That's what it seemed to me. It's like, yeah, what level of injustice does he feel he's facing? That it's not his fault there's been an earthquake. And
How
yet,
loud were they singing to create an earthquake? Um, yes, whether his fault or not, he obviously felt he was going to be in trouble for this,
yeah.
and quite significant trouble. So,
And there is a sense behind all this, isn't there? That in Luke's telling of it, that God stands behind all this and everything that's happening. That
mhm.
God's with Paul and Silas, and that that in one sense the earthquake has come to free them, and that's why no one's been killed in it, and that's
So
and
where
brings
would you
freedom to
go
them.
with this with modern life? So obviously there's modern slavery, which we can look out for, but most of us are not slaves. What sort of oppression perhaps could we be relating this to? Um, or chains and bound. What
It sometimes feels like we're in a system that we can't escape from, doesn't it? Economic
we are
system.
in the Church of England.
Well, that wasn't quite where I was going, but yeah, I take your point.
Still, you can't use that either, but yes.
Um, okay, but yeah, we to what extent are we in economic systems that bind us, that bring oppression, that um,
Oh yeah, so economic systems, political systems, I
political
suppose.
systems? Yeah, yeah.
I suppose if you work in an institution, you've got similar kind of systems.
So
I'm
what does it
trying to
mean for us
relate
to
it
be?
to everybody though, like
What does it mean for the gospel to free us from those, though? That's then another question, isn't it? What does it mean to be free from them? What does the message of Christ bring to free us from that? Because we still live in them, don't we? But I guess we don't have to see them as ultimate,
well,
whichever.
also some people live quite comfortably in them. So I'm ministering in a different place to you. I'm not sure that my congregation are feeling that oppressed by them.
I'm not
Um,
sure that mine are either, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, I think um,
yeah. So maybe I do need to kind of think, yeah, almost look out to others who may feel oppressed by these systems that are being created.
yeah,
Mm.
and I guess I guess whether we feel that we're in sort of political systems or economic systems that kind of can make us feel bound. I mean, I think it's about looking to God to free us from those in the way we live, isn't it? That says I'm not going to put my ultimate hope in the fact that this
Mhm.
politician or this is going to work or this job is ultimate. There is there's an opportunity in this passage and in our lives to look beyond that, isn't there? And say, actually, you know, the gospel can free us from these things because that's what we base our life on and what makes it, what we ultimately look
I,
to. I think you could do something with that.
Yeah, I think that image of Paul and Silas living in freedom, even though bound, is quite a strong one. That's probably where
Yeah,
I'll begin with it. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We
And
can
then
live
of
in.
course you get the classic line, which I don't know about you, but no one has ever said to me in all my years of ministry,
Go on. Which one?
"What must I do to be saved?" I mean, I always wish somebody once would come along and say that to me. It'd be great. Like, okay, we're in.
Get the
Let's go for
water
it.
out.
Let's get the water out. We're on our way. But have you ever had anyone say that to you? Like,
I have never had anyone say those words. I have had somebody want to be baptized whilst I was doing a baptism.
okay,
Close. It's as close as I get.
yeah. I mean, of course, I've had people asking me about faith and what it means and how
Yeah.
it works and wanting to explore it. That's not what I mean, but it's just that sort of classic line, isn't it? That
How
you
can I
can't.
be saved? I'm not sure that we move in those sort of circles with that language, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Although we once have, perhaps. But yes, no one
And
has
then, of
ever.
course, you get the whole thing about him and his household, who are all baptized.
I quite like that because I have such an open baptism policy.
I mean, it does amaze me when you read some of I mean, quite a lot of the. I mean, I was thinking that last week actually about the thing with Lydia as well. Yeah, okay, yeah, you're baptized. You're baptized. Here we are. We've just get the water on. Let's get it done.
It very much so, but then they are doing it in response, whereas we have made it into something much bigger, haven't we?
Okay.
So I guess my question there is, I've had people who want me to just baptize them at home. Can I just come to church and can you just baptize me? I don't want it in a service. I don't want a big thing. And we kind of say, no, it's a public declaration. But
Yeah.
actually, there's no sign here that it's a public declaration. It is a sign of faith. But it does sound as though they were in their house and they just
Yeah. I
baptized.
mean, actually, he and an entire family were baptized without delay. They don't hang about, do they? When someone's made a profession of faith, they get the water on them or get them in the water or however they did it. I don't know.
But they're not traipsing off down to the river to make sure that everybody knows, are they? They're just doing it.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting observation.
So,
Yeah. And I guess that's why, you know, I've never been one to want to put lots of barriers in people's way about baptism. I do think we need to do some preparation, and I do, but I've never been one for, putting a lot of, and I think in some ways that's right, because you want to be welcoming and open, and it's between people and God. I'm not there to put a window into men's souls, as Elizabeth I famously said. There we are.
I guess my reflection is whether you insist on doing a whole course or joining church or just do it. We've really just moved away from what baptism used to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
I
of
think
us.
I think
All of us.
I think there's so many cultural things bound up with it as well that it seems like it was simpler for Paul and Silas than sometimes it feels for us, but perhaps that wasn't the case. I don't know.
They didn't have a DVD.
Going to put your child on the bus. Anyway, never mind. Okay, that's a
Let's
bit of an
finish.
ending story.
Wrap it up.
So it's a cracking story, isn't it? It is a great. I mean, it is one I definitely remember from a kid Sunday school kind of story. It's all very dramatic and all sorts of earthquakes and singing and baptism and God moving.
Yeah.
And I think that's a little bit what I was saying last week. You've got to be moving and open to what God is doing, and that's what we want to still be doing, just like Paul and Silas are.
So I'm going to sum it up with freedom within oppression.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Great. Well, thank you for listening,
you,
and we will be back next week for who knows what, but we will be back.
Isn't it
Take care.
Pentecost
Have a good
week?
week and a good Sunday. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to In Conversation with Jennie and Mark. Please subscribe for more episodes on all the usual podcast platforms.